Stephen Miller is continually using the phrase sealed borders and completely sealed borders. And I'm just wondering if anybody else out there that is really interested in geopolitics is also very nervous about the usage of that phrase.
If you are a white woman living in the United States, you should absolutely be horrified by the idea, the thought of sealed borders. Because black and brown women have been screaming this to the heavens for decades, and it appears that this has fallen on deaf ears. The idea is not just to keep black and brown people out of this country. The idea is also to keep you in. Now, yes, they will absolutely need the rest of us for workforce. Yeah, that's true. But when you start looking at some of the legislation coming down the pipeline through the Republican Party in key areas, things like eliminating no-fault divorce, so you can't leave your husband, even if he's abusive, ending Roe v. Wade and restricting interstate travel, tracking period apps to make sure that that you're not trying to end a pregnancy. Starts to form a very clear picture. It was suspected that by 2045, statistically, that Hispanic and Latino people would be the majority of the United States. They would be the biggest demographic. People like Stephen Miller want to make sure that that never happens, which is one of the reasons that they want to ship out 20 million people. It helps to stem the tide. But the other way to stem the tide is to make sure you increase the birth rate of white children. How would you do that? You end no-fault divorce so that white women can no longer leave their abusive husbands. You end Roe v. Wade so that they can no longer end a pregnancy. You make sure and end things like interracial marriage to make sure that there's no race mixing. These are white children being born to white families. You take away a woman's right to choose so that she cannot affect the government to protect her rights. It starts to form a pretty clear picture. And again, black and brown women have been screaming to the heavens for decades that they are being scapegoated in all of these weird and off-putting legislation. Off-putting is not even the right word for it. All of this legislation coming down the pipeline that's being passed. And it appears to have fallen completely on deaf ears over the decades, over the years. But if you are a white woman living in the United States and you continue to hear the phrase sealed borders, know that they are not just trying to keep black and brown people out. They are trying to keep you in.